Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Restless Masses. I don't know if that's recording properly. I think it is. It's been a long time coming. Lots of things. Well, that's just life. Anyways. Fuck, I'm bad at this. I've recently decided that I'm going to go onto YouTube, which I tried a long time ago, but decided, well, I had a lot of stuff in my life, being a 28-year-old, well, I don't know how old I am, 29, 26, something like that. The generational disposition is pretty wild right now. People my age, people younger than me, people a little older than me, we all kind of feel it, And so recently, I had a boy. Well, my wife did. I helped. And that really threw a wrench in my creative license in a good way. He absolutely would do it again and would probably never come back. But I get this urge. See, I built the podcast initially with the idea in mind that everybody has something inside of them that yearns for something greater, right? And I'm not talking about just greater in the sense of I could be doing better, but no, actually something greater. And it's just been it's been hard trying to channel that, especially as a young adult right now. Well, not necessarily even young. And I don't think I'm the only one. And I started the podcast maybe 4 years ago, something like that. And the idea behind it was initially it was to help people know that they're not alone, that there's there's others that also feel like something's not quite right, something's not quite jiving with what we see and what's around us. But then it ended up being a lot of tinfoil hat stuff and a lot of randomly talking and a lot of interviews that I thoroughly enjoyed, and then even a lot that I didn't put out because I'm just absolutely garbage at this thing. But it made me realize something, that I had worked a little bit, I had done a little bit, I had made a decent amount of podcasting hours, right? Like so many others do. I'm not trying to say this has nothing to do with recognition or anything like that. Everybody and their mother has a podcast, and heaven help us if people start breaking into the space of podcasting with AI, because then we're all just going to lose our minds. We're all going to be completely retarded and without any semblance of what reality is. I realized that the only thing that's going to get me anywhere is commitment, and that as somebody who feels this kind of restlessness, it doesn't just go away after you've done a little bit. You still need to do more. And that could look like anything for anybody. I know a lot of guys do a lot of crazy stuff, and then others don't do that crazy stuff. If you feel that you need to bring your family closer together, and that's what's on your heart, and you have to keep working towards it, but yet it doesn't seem to follow through, it's a commitment thing. You could always do better. Or guys that I see guys pass up on dreams, ladies, guys, whatever. This is interchangeably. Pass up on dreams or pass up on ideas because it's just too hard, or there's not enough to push behind it, or I don't know, any number of excuses. And one of the big ones right now, just with everything going on, is nobody's making money. Everybody is a slave to the 24-hour news cycle. So I want to re-examine a couple things. And that's not necessarily to say that I'm going to be a self-help person or anything like that. I find that stuff kind of cringe, honestly. I think it's more important that you encourage discussion and find community in the local sphere of the people around you that are going to help you push harder and further. That's the most important. There's never going to be you alone are not going to go anywhere, right? It's like handicapping yourself before a sprint. If you want to accomplish anything, you're never going to accomplish anything unless you actually stop hurting yourself and start actually doing the thing. I'm not very good at motivational speeches. So I realized I had to re-examine the entire mission of this, because in many ways I'm pretty typical Gen Z, millennial. I still haven't quite figured that out. And I work hard. I have a family. I'm not selling drugs. I'm not participating in nefarious activities. And yet I find myself even struggling to hold up an entire household. And I know I'm not the only one. I have other friends or other people that I know of that they only have their job. They don't have a family. They don't have anything like that. And they're still like scraping. They're able to put some by and they're able to work diligently, but like they're still scraping. And so I'm like, what's the change here? Like what's obviously there's, we could throw any sort of excuse, whether it's economy this, politics that, another war, another retard government official. We can throw anything that direction and use it as an excuse to not actually do what I would say we're called to do. But the truth of the matter is the buck stops with you. And that's the mission of this. To help you grow and live as a human being, just as I'm growing and living as a human being, and remind each other the buck stops with us. We can blame whatever we want to. We can say a certain influential figure was strategically taken out by a shady group of people that we may or may not believe runs the world. But in the end, man, like, what does it matter? If you can build a group of people around you, a couple of families, a couple of friends, put them all together in a small little community, so to speak, and like, who cares, right? And obviously, logistically and all that stuff, I'm gonna be doing a couple of arguments here in the near future about like generational living, communal living, what it looks like to speak to people from differing sides of the aisle from wherever you're at. Because the greatest downfall is the fact that we hate each other. You can, like, I had somebody label me as Antifa, which is hilarious, but I realized that if I had been anybody else, if I had been stuck in the echo chamber of, oh, this is the alt-right, extremist right, whatever right of Hitler, right of Stalin, even though, like, if I had been any more stuck in my echo chamber, I'd have been so pissed. I would have lost it. I would have been so mad. What do you mean? What do you mean I look like a bad guy from your side of the aisle? What do you mean? And then it hit me. Holy shit. We're all the same. We're literally all the same. Talk to anybody. Whatever political view, whatever. I'm getting distracted. That'll be for another one. The point is that the mission of this was to help people think outside the box in the sense of economically, culturally, politically, and be able to reach out beyond your own echo chamber and be able to make communities with people around you. Because the truth of the matter is that the politics economy that we all put so much stock in helps us so little. It's baffling how much weight we put in that, and then we like point the finger at another person and we're like, they're psycho. They believe this. Yeah, maybe they are wrong. Maybe they do, like, their thought process is not good. But that doesn't mean that person doesn't think that they're doing it for the right thing. And we need to be able to accept that, right? Another core value of this whole idea was to recognize the Imago Dei. Recognize that the person sitting across the aisle from you also bears the image of God. And do they destroy that image? Yes. Do people absolutely and give a terrible name to the image? Yes, 100%. I'm not saying sacrifice your ideals or your morals, but I am saying, be a little courteous, which can be hard to do. I'm not saying it can't. But we need to be able to do that because, see, if heaven forbid something bad were to happen, like the entire western coast that's completely engulfed in flames, we can rely on the fire departments and, the states coming together and helping to fight all the fires. But they only can help so far, right? They're fighting the fire, not mitigating the problem. Well, they are mitigating the problem. That's not the right way to say it. The effects of something like that affect people longer than the existence of the fire. And if we were more community focused and less left-wing, right-wing, political jargon, socialist, conservative, if we were less that way, if we held that at a much lower standard than we actually did, there is a possibility of actual charity and coming together, regardless of creed or, I don't know, regardless of political color that you fly. And that's been really bothering me because, like, I have a lot of good people that are around me, but then I listen to them talk about, whatever, lay down any hot topic today or not so hot topic today. And it's kind of like, man, we really got to watch out for our propaganda. Like, We've been so brainwashed by so many different things that we see in our life, and we need to be able to look past it and have a little bit of understanding. I was one of those people that I'd be like, yeah, you should be scared riding a bus with their bunch of minorities on that bus in inner city, wherever, name city here. Like, that's a scary place. You need to be careful about that. And yes, you do, but you also need to be, like, there's safety and then there's stupid, right? And then there's understanding. And I think people conflate all of those. Some will say it's left and right. Fuck, I sound like a broken record. Some will say that it's racist of you to avoid certain areas because of whatever demographic is inside of those areas. And other sides will say the exact opposite, that you shouldn't avoid it because of whatever demographic, right? You could take that, northern Idaho, black folk don't go there because it's scary, right? Like, whatever. Or inner city Chicago, white folk don't go there, whatever that is. And to a certain extent, there's validity to it. However, there's people will say that you lack nuance because you have made said statement. But the cold hard truth of it is that you greatly increase your own bodily harm when going to those areas if you are not of the demographic around there. So the people who are avoiding it aren't racist, and then the people who, perpetuate it aren't necessarily racist either. Back to the mission, I'm rambling. So we have to grow communities regardless of political aisle. If we continue to be infected by propaganda and the things of this world that constantly pump themselves into our heads every day through a little screen, then we're nothing more than cattle. We're being swayed by whatever direction the algorithm decides we need to. And like all those, see, this is the ironic part. I might ruffle some feathers. Probably not. These are controversial figures, so who cares? That's the funny part about how so many things are sold to you. This continues on with the mission, right? So many things are sold to you. Break the matrix, or woke, or whatever, right? These stupid taglines that are like, they're cringy, honestly. Like, let's just call it what it is. It's cringe, right? So much cringe out there. So much cringe of like, oh, you don't understand, or you're just another rat in a race, and all of these things. Then it's like, well, but there's like such a small bit of truth there. Because if we're constantly watching YouTube slop, or Instagram slop, or TikTok slop, whatever, then of course, yeah, we're like freaking Neo with a freaking tube tacked onto the back of the neck and not even realizing what it looks like out there. Because all of these people are just freaking crazy because, I don't leave my couch and I just watch YouTube, and this political head says this and this cultural head says this, and obviously those people are just, they're stupid. It's like, well, if you actually went outside and talked to some of them, you'd realize they're just as indoctrinated as you, which is the irony of it. So the mission, clear, straight to the point. Number one, Number one, build your relationship with God, and not this influencer God, or not Allah, or whatever Talmudic Judaism is, like actual Christian principle. Don't listen to what other people say as far as what the West was built on. One of the most crucial building blocks was Christianity originally. Were there hiccups? Yes. Were there sects of Christians that killed each other early on in the American history? Yeah, that's not deniable. But there were a lot of principles that it was originally built upon, and we need to make sure that we continue those principles. Otherwise, the union's gone. So, first one, don't listen to me and take whatever I say hook and sinker, but build your own relationship. Trust but verify. Number two, don't trust your government. And not in the sense of the cringy, not even cringy, edgelord. Don't trust your government, kids. But more of the, be aware that the government as a whole does not care. They have to run a system. They have to make sure that the gears turn properly. And the gears that don't turn properly are going to be gotten rid of. Or they're going to be flooded with grease until they can't even turn properly anyways. It's a very long story to explain it that way. But, don't trust your government. Which leads into the third one, which is build community. The people that are actually in your active circle, the people that you have a relationship with on the day-to-day basis, you need to get to know them deeper. You need to understand them deeper. Not so that you can use that, but more of so that we can preserve discourse, which is the last point. Preserving discourse. I want to talk about anything and everything I possibly can, which I already have talked about things that, I guess at the time were more taboo than they are now. But the point being is that, like, if you don't talk about these things, if they aren't brought up in the public square, then people can't shout you down when it's retarded, okay? There's a difference between mob mentality and debunking a retarded thought process. And we've lost the art of both. Mob mentality rules because we can be riled up because of a YouTube algorithm. Literally, it's like the internet algorithm is literally like the border collie, and we're the sheep that just run because the border collie's nipping at my legs. And we need to be more cognizant of it. Some of the most free people I've ever seen are the ones who stay off the internet. They don't care. They care about the potluck next week. They care about, this person, their roof caved in because a tree blew over. Let's go help them out. They care about, are you eating well? Do we need to bring you food? They care about, are you warm for the winter? Are you cold? That's community. None of this BS of, you're retarded, so I'm not going to help you. You're transgender, so I'm not going to help you. You're right wing, so I'm not going to eat dinner with you. You're, whatever the stupid excuses are. The truth of the matter is that person is a human being. You don't have to agree with him. In fact, you could point it out to them, especially if you point it out to them and they accept the fact that you don't agree, but still have dinner with you at the table. That's beautiful. Beautiful. We need more of that. So that's the mission. That's the journey. That's where we're going. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. I got some things lined up. I got some good ones lined up. I got why Gen Z is screwed, which that's ironic. I don't think they're screwed, but the propaganda says we're screwed. So how do we go against it, right? I'm gonna have one that just simply talks about propaganda. I have one that we're working on that it's about the subject of nationalism, because for some reason we need to have that discussion. And then at some point, and you know who you are out there, we're going to have a freaking panel of guys. Now, these are all retards like myself. So, if you like listening to retards ramble, this is it. This is it, baby. This is all you got. See, because I'm kind of retarded. See what I did there? Can you laugh at my joke? Just kidding. Don't do that. That's the mission. Pierce through the propaganda, the ridiculous cultural zeitgeist that we find ourselves in. Build community. Preserve discourse. Stop moping around because your dream of having a Ferrari isn't going to go through or whatever. The whole point of this is to show that, we think we're extreme. We tell each other that the other side's extreme, yet ourselves have also found ourselves somewhat extreme, and we need to be able to stay grounded. So many people are asking questions, and I love asking questions. Questions are important, but you have to stay grounded in reality. I'm not stupid. I'm just asking questions. The questions are stupid. There is such thing as a stupid question. There must be some sort of intellectual honesty within these arguments, because if they're not, then we end up asking stupid questions and pointing out very stupid things that don't necessarily actually bring the truth out. So yeah, I'm gonna nail it home one more time. Fuck it, I need to write these down. I am terrible at this, but I know the mission. That's the thing. I could say it out of order. Build community. Don't trust your government. Preserve discourse. Follow God. That's it. That's the whole point of this. So if you want any of those four things and don't mind listening to a retard like myself ramble, then come along. I'd love to hear what you have to say when I say stupid things. Because if I don't actually get valid arguments for what I say, then I'm just going to tumble, just like so many others, down their own echo chamber, and we no longer have any sort of understanding for one another as human beings. And that's like the whole point of propaganda. How many times have we seen it throughout wars, that we make other people seem inhuman, because then it's easier for us to do stupid things to them. Okay, my rant's over. Updates. Part of the reason why I haven't done anything for 10 months is because I have the little boy who I love to death, and who is part of the reason why I'm going to be doing this. You will not see his face on the internet, and we'll explain that why I'll explain why in the AI episode. That's not until September, so don't get your hopes up. However, that's what you should shoot for. Family is like the basis of community. the basis of society. And you see how it's been destroyed, and now we're reaping the rewards. We'll talk about that too. I'm done rambling. Let's go with more updates. Most of these are going to be made for YouTube and then ported to Spotify, wherever you listen, whatever, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, SoundCloud if you're really weird. I know a couple of people, like literally a couple of people. I don't have many people that listen to this, but I have a couple of people that listen on SoundCloud. Also, keep an eye out for updates, whether it's whatever social. I see the irony in this. I have shirts that I would like to sell because I don't believe in simply, like, if I don't want to be sponsored if I ever get to that point. I don't want to shill for anybody else if ever I get to that point. I want this solely to be based on community. So people who give on Patreon, many thanks. I still haven't cleared with everybody whether or not I can like put a little thing that says, thanks to these people. However, I have in collaboration with an artist called, we won't say for now. It's not that big. In collaboration, I have made 3 designs and working on a 4th. And it's the Your Gods Are Dead series, which was supposed to be originally tied in with the New Gods, Old Faces series, but that's going to be on hold for a bit. I need to lock in with YouTube first. I need to lock in and stay consistent, give you guys stuff that you can watch. The other thing, too, is there will be basically like 3 kinds of content. There will be this, which will be me ranting or doing series about certain things. I do have topics already picked out. It's on the Patreon. You do not need to spend money in my Patreon. You can just join it whenever you'd like. No cost. If you'd like to donate, that's great. But you do not feel like you have to. But I have already things lined up there. I have series ideas that I'm playing with and committeeing amongst people. And then the other kind is going to be, I'm going to do a few re-uploads of my podcast. The more important ones, but I'm going to do supercut. So I have like 4 or 5 series that I did that I feel very strongly about, that I think are very important for people to listen to. I'm just going to throw those on like a slop tuber. We're going to put that over gameplay. I'm going to throw references up. You guys can listen to the whole hour and a half, 2 hours of the series, and then you're good to go. Like, no harm, no foul. And the last one, I still want to keep to it, is interviews. I still think it's exceptionally important that I practice discourse with other people just as you should. We should all be willing to talk deeply with others, even if they have nose rings and blue hair. That was hard for me to say, but it's true. We should at least be somewhat open to talking with those people if they themselves are also open. That's the other problem, is I'm not talking about going to your local, hyper liberal coffee shop and finding somebody sitting down who looks like, well, you know what they look like. I'm not going to be mean. And just immediately trying to talk with them, and they just kind of don't want to talk. I'm being very nice. I'll be more mean later, don't worry. But the idea is so that you understand that these people, like one of the things that I realized, another side tangent, dear God, I need to have better scripts here. One of the things that I realized is that when you have discussions with people who are across the aisle, whether it's extreme or not, a good portion of the time, both of you agree that there is a problem present. The difference then becomes, well, how do we fix it? And I think that's valuable because I think that if you understand that this person who is, we're gonna flip-flop it, all right? We talk to a person who is very much America first, no hate, whatever. Very much America first, Jewish cabal, that kind of stuff, right? You talk with that person and you may think completely opposite to them. However, you both see a problem. As soon as you can understand that somebody who is opposite sees a problem that you also see, you just have different solutions, then discussion can actually begin, and it can actually continue, and it can actually be refined. Rant over. In conclusion, because this is an absolute mess of a video, and I'm going to hate myself while editing it because I am a terrible editor, and it is going to take hours. In conclusion, follow God, the Christian God. I know that's going to ruffle some people's feathers, but, it's true. Don't trust your government. Build community. Preserve discourse. And listen to retards. That last one's just a freebie. Don't listen to retards. I've used that word way too many times. I'm going to have to bleep it out. That's all I can bear for right now until I actually get better at this. Actually, it's a good point. I'd like to make a promise to the 10 people that watch. Those 10 people, thank you. Seriously. The promise is I will pursue this. I will continue to do this better. And I will try to make a difference where I can. But that'll be all. And remember, masses, stay restless.